If you have come from some of my Summerween vlogs, you will know that I am having major neighbour drama, and it has escalated this morning. I might be getting myself involved, just saying, and I will get to all of that very, very soon, just as a little teaser for this vlog. And I will also get you up to speed with the neighbourhood drama if you have not seen my Summerween vlogs and you don't know what's been going on, because the plot doth thicken. But anyway, that's not the point of this video, even though I think that's what a lot of you are tuning in for, because you're nosy buggers. But today's video is going to be me reading books that you think I'm going to give 5 stars. Now, I was very inspired by some of my friends, Gabby from Gabby Reads, Carrie from Carrie Can Read, and Sid from Sid Bookworm. Sid's version of this actually is a little bit more creative. She does have her own 5-star predictions, and she pits them against her viewers' 5-star predictions. And as much as I would love to do what Sid's doing, because it's just so genius, Sid, if you're watching, I love you, you're amazing. I'm just gonna stick to the reading your 5-star predictions for me. So hopefully we have some success in this video. This will be the first week that I can just genuinely sit down and chill, relax, and read properly. During Summerween, amazing. It was an amazing readathon. But I was still trying to get used to this house. I still had so much unpacking to do during Summerween, getting the library finished, etc, etc. Unfortunately, all of that is pretty much done, so I can just like relax now. Like, this is the first time I can actually just sit down, relax, and read. So I have just made myself a nice oat milk cappuccino, nice and frothy. I'm keeping an eye on the front door as well, just in case I spot the police again. And I want to let you know what I'm reading in this video. And if you do end up enjoying this video, please do give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So I went through all of the suggestions through my YouTube community page and my Instagram stories that you submitted. And I must admit, there wasn't really that many duplicate options. There were only a couple which I have included, and I'll mention them in a second. But so many people submitted something that somebody else hadn't, really. And I thought there would be a lot more overlap than there was, but there really wasn't. So really, I had a lot of free reign to choose what I just fancied reading, what I kind of really wanted to read. And that's what I've gone with some of these options, despite the length of them, because one of these is definitely a little bit too long for a vlog like this. However, I really want to read it, so I picked it. Anyway, one of the books that was definitely mentioned the most, I think it was mentioned maybe 4 times, is The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrun. So I just got this from Amazon, and I made a mistake. It's in German. Can I read German? No. I can't. I don't know why. I don't know how it happened. I thought I was ordering the English book. Somehow we've ended up here. Somehow I did accidentally order the German copy of The Charm Offensive. So I can't actually like read this right now. And I did check my library to see if they had it, and they didn't. So I am going to have to order another copy. I might wait until Prime Day though, because, you know, all the deals are on. And I really don't want to have to spend more money on books, not after I've just moved and had to sort out my library room and buy bookshelves and stuff. So I'm kicking myself right now for somehow accidentally ordering the German edition of this. But this will definitely get read in this video, because this was the one that was mentioned the most out of all of these suggestions. And then the Book of the Most Precious Substance by Sara Gran was also mentioned a couple of times, and I did read the first chapter of this for my reading 21 books as first chapters to see which one I want to read the most video that I posted a few months back, and it didn't really give a whole lot in the first chapter, so it didn't really rank very high in that. However, I have been very interested in reading more Sara Gran, especially since Come Closer by Sara Gran is one of my favourite horror novellas. So I've been meaning to pick this up for such a long time, and I haven't really managed to fit it in anywhere on my TBRs, and this is the perfect opportunity. That first chapter challenge was a way of me trying to get this into a TBR, and it just didn't quite work. But now, because 2 people mentioned, I think it was 2 people mentioned this, I thought, why not? Let's go for it. And then I have 3 more books that I think were only mentioned once in all of those submissions. So I do have Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I've owned this for a good few years. I got it when the paperback first came out, and I really want to read it more now, because I think it's been announced that Studio Leica is doing an adaptation of this, which is very interesting to me. I love Studio Leica. They did Coraline, but they also did Kubo and the Two Strings, and that is like one of my favorites. I haven't rewatched it in such a long time. I might have to do a movie night with my patrons on that one, but I absolutely love Studio Leica. I think they bring out such great, phenomenal films. I'm definitely way more interested in reading. I mean, I was interested before, but now it's just like even more, you know? Next, I have The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. This one has been recommended to me for a good few months now from Emma. Emma is a really great person in the book community. Got a really great bookstagram. I'll link it down below. But Emma has been pushing this Tainted Cup agenda for months and months and months. So when Emma submitted it, I was like, you know what, let's do it, let's just go for it. And then finally, this again was only mentioned once, but as soon as I saw it, I kind of just knew I wanted to read it. Has that ever happened to you before? Where you just see a book title and you're like, you know what, despite how long it is, I really freaking want to read it right now. For me, that is Battle Royale by Koushun Takami. And I have heard about this for years. Obviously, it's been compared to things like Hunger Games, and I just want to see what all the hullabaloo is all about. So yeah, as soon as someone mentioned this one, I just jumped on it. Oh my god, it's like 650 pages. But I don't care because it is about time. Not part of this video, but I do need to read it by tomorrow, is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I also really need to read Leigh Bardugo's The Familiar for my Patreon book club tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to be spending my time doing today. Nobody recommended this as a 5-star book for me personally, but I think because it won the Young Adult and Adult Book Club poll pick from my Patreon, maybe that can still fit this vlog, because why would my patrons vote it if they didn't think I was going to give it 5 stars? They would not sabotage me like that. By voting for a book, I would give it 1 star, right? So I think I will start this vlog out by reading The Familiar, despite nobody giving this as a recommendation when I asked for it in the Instagram stories and on my YouTube community page. Look, I make the rules. If I'm going to change and bend things, then I will absolutely do that. This TBR is actually ridiculous, especially since I want to get through it in a few days. Like, that ain't gonna happen. So yeah, this is my TBR for this video. Hopefully all of them are 5 stars and you guys were right. If not, I'm gonna unsubscribe from you. Also, as much as I love this place, despite the neighborhood drama as well, there are no sushi places where I live that deliver. So I can never ever order sushi again unless one opens. So my amazing mum went to Tesco today to get me some sushi. And she is just an absolute MVP. This is like the first and only sushi I'll be able to have for such a long time. I know that's like such a typical problem, but this is going to save my life today. Also, I just freaking love the chopsticks I got from Japan when I visited back in September. I love them. I use them all the time. Well, I used to when I could order sushi. You know, the sun is beautifully setting right now. It is nearly 9 p.m. And you know when you've spent an entire day pretty much reading and you get to this point in the day and you're like, why the fuck did I do that? That's me with The Familiar right now. I am so bored. I'm on page 241 and I'm just waiting for something to happen. So in this we follow Lucia, and she is a maid to this family, and when they discover that she has magic, they want to take advantage of that. However, there is also a disgraced nobleman called Antonio, and when he discovers what Lucia can do, he wants to try and get get favour with the king, and so he wants to present her to him as a magic user. There is also a competition happening right now too. I believe I'm on the second contest thing, and I just don't really have very many thoughts. I'm just very bored. It's okay that this is definitely not going to get a 5-star because I literally just forced this one into this video. This was never a recommendation from anyone that this is something that I would give a 5 stars. This is just me ruining this video from the very beginning, because that's what I like to do. I like to ruin my own videos before anyone else can. There is a sort of romance going on at the minute too that I just cannot get invested in, and I'm finding myself as I'm reading this just continuously looking away from the book. I just want to look anywhere else but the book. It's not grabbing my attention whatsoever, and maybe it has something to do with the fact that it's historical fantasy, and you can really tell. In, you know what, the writing is pretty good. A lot of the descriptions are pretty lush. The word cock is used quite a few times, and that's always a win in my book. In fact, it's getting an extra half a star for that alone when I finally end up rating this book. But even that can't save it for me right now, and I'm just worried at the minute. Like, I really want to invest myself in this and have so many thoughts and opinions on it because I have a book club tomorrow for this book. And I just don't know if I have anything worthwhile to say about it right now. The characters are meh. The plot is meh. To be fair though, I wasn't the biggest fan of A Study in Drowning, and I ended up falling asleep before the book actually finished. And then I had a book club for it the night I had accidentally fallen asleep during it. And I still managed to talk about that book for like an hour and 20 minutes on that live show. So you know what, maybe as soon as everyone starts talking about this book, I will feel something, and maybe, you know, just hearing other people talk about it will help bring something out of me. I don't know, but I just don't think at this point now it's going to change very much. I have 139 pages to go, and with it only being like 9 p.m, I might finish it tonight, just like plow through it tonight, and then at least I've got it ready for tomorrow. Maybe try and brainstorm some book club questions while I finish this off, and maybe like spend tomorrow just going through that and going through some of the highlights that I've made in this. Maybe that will help, but I'm worried. Like, I love doing book clubs, I love doing book club discussions, but it's hard when, one, I'm hosting it by myself, and two, I just haven't really felt anything for this yet. There's still time, we might turn this around, but at the minute I'm just not feeling it. And I've tried Leigh Bardugo in the past before. I've read Shadow and Bone. It was fine. It didn't blow me away, and maybe I'm just not a Leigh Bardugo kind of person.
The interesting thing about that is this is not the house that was used. They actually built. And they were sitting right there at the picnic table. So when they were flying the kite, it was...
Good morning. It's July and I'm in a hoodie, and I was contemplating putting the heating on today. That just seems a little bit odd to me. Look, I need to stop complaining about the weather or I'm never going to beat those British allegations. I did manage to get an English copy of The Charm Offensive as well, and it's so much shorter than the German one. I don't know why this is like almost 500 pages, and this is only around about 358. And I know like this is a little shorter, but still, I'm like, why? Even the words per page don't seem to be that different. So how is it added over like 150 more pages? But anyway, I'm so glad that it's not as thick as I thought it would be. I haven't started it yet. I'm going to start it in the middle of the week. I might start on Tuesday because I have Patreon reading sprints on Tuesdays, and I think this will be like a really fun one to do while live. I have made myself another oat latte as I'm about to talk about The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, because I did finish it last night. It was just after midnight when I finished it. Didn't want to come on camera and talk about it just then. It had just been a full day of reading, and it felt a little bit like a waste of a day. And I know I do have my book club tonight, so it's not really a waste because I do need to talk about it. But I was just still so bored until the very end. After a certain point, there is a specific plot that happens up until the end, and it was like one of the most boring plots I've read. It didn't allow for much imagination or much room for a whole lot to happen. It felt very confined, and because of that, we already had such a tedious start of this, for me personally, a tedious start to just get to a place in the plot where you can't really do much of anything. So by limiting the characters in that way by the end, it just felt like Leigh Bardugo didn't want this book to be good. I mean, don't get me wrong, the imagery was pretty nice and the writing was still pretty good, but it just wasn't my kind of thing. It was just a little bit too drab for me. I am going to be brainstorming some book club questions for tonight. I don't imagine it's going to last very long unless everyone else like talks more for me. But this is like another young adult and adult book club book that we've picked that I haven't been the biggest fan of. I'm hoping the next one will be good. We are reading A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Bacon for the middle grade book club next. So that's going to be really fun because that looks pretty awesome and I do love me some T. Kingfisher, so I imagine I'm going to give that a higher rating. But for the familiar, I think I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. It really, really didn't live up to the kind of hype that this had. Was it this year? Did it come out this year or was it last year? I can't remember. I think it was this year. And I did think this had some good buzzy reviews, but I'm just feeling a little bit like the odd one out in the minute. I think I'm going to start Piranesi next by Susanna Clarke. I'm going to look up a pronunciation of this too so that I'm definitely saying it right. Just because it is only 245 pages, so it's relatively short, and I've just finished a whole readathon where I read a whole bunch of books, so I just want something a little bit smaller, a little bit digestible. But I think today I'm going to do some editing. Well, actually, before that, I'm going to film my introductions to my Stephen King vlog, which I'm going to be doing because I'm reading all of Stephen King in publication order, and I'm going to do episode 1 soon. So I'm going to film the introduction for that next, and then I'm going to film the introduction for the Fear Street vlog, which I want to come out in September. So if I start reading those books relatively early-ish. I was supposed to start this like last month, but obviously lots of things got in the way with moving. But I am desperate to get this Fear Street vlog out this year. I said I was going to get it out last year. I planned it in 2022 when I bought all of the books off eBay. So this Fear Street vlog has been 2 years in the making. It is 51 books, but they are quite small. And I just want to get started on filming that vlog. Otherwise I'm going to have to push it again. And I don't want to push it back again. And it's just going to be the introductions to those 2 videos. I'm not actually going to start reading for them. I just feel accomplished when I have started filming a vlog and I feel like I can get to it at any point. Sometimes the introductions are the most intimidating to film when filming a video because you gotta hook them out and you gotta grab the audience in the first few minutes, and so they are just like a little bit daunting. But I am feeling in a bit of a filming mood, and I'm also in an editing mood, so after I've finished filming those introductions I'm gonna go on to editing my building my new home library video. I'm dreading it as well because I've got so many clips all over the place. I filmed on both my actual camera and on my phone, so when you import all that footage it just goes everywhere because when you film on your mobile and your camera sometimes a clip will go before a clip that isn't supposed to be before a clip, so it's a little bit confusing, so I'm gonna have to like really sort it out. But I just want to get that done as well so I can get the video out next week. There's just lots to do. There's just lots to do and I feel productive today. I really do feel productive today. It's only Saturday. My book club live show is until 8 p.m. It's only just turned 12, so there is plenty of time to get things done. This is going to be a brand new video series on my channel where I go through Stephen King's entire bibliography from beginning to end. I have just started part 3 of Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This is my read for today. It is Sunday. I have a true crime and wine night with my patrons in about 4 hours. So I really do hope that I can finish this before then. And I was reading this before and now I'm so distracted because I found out that Shannon Doherty, who played Prue in Charmed, my favourite TV show of all time, has died. And oh, I'm heartbroken. I'm absolutely heartbroken. And I'm trying to focus on my book. But you know when you just like hear some news of, you know, something like that and it just like clouds your thoughts and you just can't really like focus too much on it. And I know it's kind of silly to be upset over a celebrity, but like, gosh, I used to love, well I still love Charmed so much. It's my favourite TV show of all time. Currently rewatching it with my patrons. We're on season 7 now. But literally a year ago, we started watching Charmed, and to hear that one of the main characters from Charmed has passed away is like, ugh, just devastating, absolutely devastating. Charmed was there for me in my teen years, the Hallowell sisters were there for me during my teen years, and it just helped me so much growing up, and it just feels like a kick in the teeth. And she was fighting breast cancer for 9 years now, maybe longer, but I think it's 9 years. And she put up a great fight. She put up a fantastic fight. May she rest in peace. I will... I'm going to get emotional now. I will always remember her for the amazing work that she did. She was an incredible actress. She didn't get her flowers. She was honestly due so much credit for the work she put in. She really should have won some awards for Charmed, and so should have Holly Marie Combs. That's a whole other story. But I am sad today, and I'm trying so hard to focus on Piranesi now because I do want to finish it today. I want to stay on track for this vlog, but it's hard. It sucks. And I was supposed to go see Shannon Doherty actually earlier this year, and I didn't go. And that was mainly because I bought the tickets in Kentucky. She was coming to a Comic-Con in Kentucky, and I obviously couldn't go. My passport was about to expire at that point. The whole plane ticket thing would have been so expensive, finding a hotel and that. But I was just so excited, and I just really wanted to meet her and the other Charmed ones, and I didn't end up getting to go. And now I'm super sad that I didn't get the opportunity to see Shannon while she was alive. So yeah. So I think for my next Charmed Witch along, which will be in 4 days, we can have some kind of memorial for Shannon and Prue. With that out of the way now, I do want to buckle down and just read this. It's such a cold, miserable day yet again, so I'm just under the blanket on my sofa reading this, and I'm liking it so far. So far, this is about a guy called Piranesi, and he lives in this house on his own, I think, but he does say at one point, like, it's kind of impossible to know, but he is visited by someone called the Other, and Piranesi is on this, like, quest for knowledge, and he goes into like this labyrinth thing, and he has to relay everything to the Other that he sees in the stars and stuff like that. It's very abstract, it's very dreamlike, and I feel like it's going to be incredibly metaphorical too, so I'm trying my absolute best to like just pay attention to this, because I don't often read things like this. I think the last thing I read that was sort of vaguely similar-ish was The Starless Sea, maybe, by Erin Morgenstern, and I didn't like The Starless Sea, so I'm a little bit worried, but to be fair, this is shorter, and I do like the character Piranesi. I do find him quite intriguing to read about. The format of this book is a little bit weird as well. You have like headings every now and then, like shoes, or I update my information about 16, the 192nd Western Hall, Addie Domaris, and it's just like that. It's like, you know, a heading, a little subheading, and then it goes into the narrative. It is first person. I am liking it. I am liking it. Definitely liking it more than The Familiar so far, so that's good. So this is 245 pages, so I have 180 pages to go? 160? Yeah, I think I'll get it done. 4 hours, no problem. I don't think having wine today, while I am still quite sad, is such a good idea. But I do have my true crime and wine night in just over half an hour, so I thought, why not? Let's just top off this week with a nice glass of red wine. I also ordered pizza. I am justifying it by saying I just didn't feel like cooking today. Also, what we're watching tonight for the true crime and wine night is the Dancing for the Devil documentary on Netflix. I think it's about a cult on TikTok, or a group of dancers on TikTok sign up for this thing that turns out to be connected to a church, and it turned out to be a cult or something. I'll find out tonight when I'm watching this thing. As per usual, I hadn't heard of the case before, so it'll be really interesting, I think, to watch with my patrons. We'll probably watch all 3 episodes. I don't think it's too long, but I did actually manage to finish Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, and I quite liked it. I'm going to give it 4 stars, though it wasn't quite 5 star. 5 stars really the books that I would say is like a new favourite of mine, and I don't think this is a new favourite, but I definitely really liked. I mean, I say I liked how obscure it was. I think The Familiar was also quite obscure at times, but I think this one, it just, because we were in the head of a character who was incredibly intriguing, kept the story moving forward, constantly asking questions and making things so intriguing for me as a reader, that really kept me going. And even though this probably isn't my typical cup of tea, I do think ultimately it ended up being for me. Writing was very descriptive. I like the turn of the plot. I do think the first like 100 pages or so is maybe a little bit more obscure and a little bit slower, but when you get to like the last 150, it definitely picks up, and so you do have this really great, nicely paced novel in my opinion. And I also like the exploration of loneliness and the walls around us, and having a smaller cast of characters really does help highlight that theme even more, because the characters felt so necessary, and the dialogue that they had and the conversations that they shared with one another felt a lot more purposeful. Something that I think The Familiar kind of lacked was, I guess, purpose and direction, whereas this one I just felt like it was so intentional, and I just thoroughly liked it. I did. Do I wish I read this on a day I wasn't so sad? Maybe. But if anything, the sadness that I'm feeling today is kind of embellished in this too. There are different emotions being evoked while reading this, so having that element of sadness in my own heart helped me to understand Piranesi just that little bit more. And that's 2 books down for this vlog so far. Not a 5-star yet, but I'm still keeping hopeful that the final 4 books for this vlog will be 5 stars. I am looking over there at that stack of books that I'm reading for this vlog, and I'm like, that is one big stack of books, you know? I mean, I have all next week to really read them, and I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem. Tomorrow, I do have a meeting with the Young Adult Book Prize judges so that we can decide the winner for it, which is going to be very exciting. I'm also so nervous. Like, I've read all the books, and I have opinions and thoughts and, you know, all this, that, and the other, but, like, I've never judged anything before. Like, the pressure is starting to get to me. I'm just a little bit anxious about tomorrow. Excited, but anxious. Look, I think as soon as the meeting is over tomorrow, which is going to go absolutely fine, I just know it will. As soon as it's over, I think that's when I can really release the breath that I didn't realize I'd been holding and kind of just throw myself into this vlog again. I just want to get out of the house a little bit more and like feel more accustomed to this area that I found myself now living in. Because last week I was still building things, I was still unpacking things. This week is like the first full week. I mean, actually, it's only Sunday. Hang on, I'm losing track of time. It's still my 2nd week here. Tomorrow will be the start of my 3rd week here. But like the past couple of days has been the first few days I've been able to just sit down and relax after my move. And it just feels weird. It feels weird now. I get asked, do you feel like you're home now and stuff? Like, does it feel like a home yet? And like, yes and no. I feel like I just need to be in this area more. I don't know. I feel like I've been too busy so far. And I can actually sit down and breathe a little bit now, and I just feel weird. But get myself out of the house, get myself to getting used to the local area might help with me feeling like, oh yeah, this is definitely 100% the best thing I did, 100% home, you know? And I do still feel like this is the best thing I've done because I needed out of that last place, despite whatever's happening next door.
On your mind, on your heart, it's hard.
He's like, yeah, I see your case here and it is filed, but, you know, we still need something more to have happened in order to go arrest him. He was like, bring in a few more women.
That they needed more women to come forward in order for him to get arrested for any kind of sexual.
I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. So excited, but so nervous. It's only 40 minutes until the call for the Young Adult Book Prize judging panel so that we can discuss the winner and also talk about all 10 of these books. And I've never done anything like this before, so I am very nervous. I'm sure I'll go absolutely fine, but you know when you're just like waiting for something to happen? Like I've been waiting for this for weeks and I knew it was coming. It's like with any appointment really, like when I know it's happening on a certain day, I can't do anything before that. So it is like happening at 1 p.m. It's now 12:20 p.m. and I haven't done anything this morning. Like I really wanted to start the book of the Most Precious Substance by Sarah Gran today. I haven't started it at all. And I really want to I want to get started, but I just can't think of anything else. I've also made a sign to put on my front door. Please don't knock. I'm on an important call. Leave any packages downside a bin, please. Thank you. And I did it on this because it has the sticky thing on the back so that I can just like stick it on the front door and somebody might not knock. But just in case, like my fear at the minute is someone's going to knock and keep knocking while I'm on this call, and it's going to be very distracting. And also, what about the neighbour too? What if she starts acting up? What if she starts shouting and everything? Like, there's so many things that could go wrong that I'm just like, ah. But hopefully not, hopefully not. And I will update you on the neighbour situation soon. Look, I need to get you watching more than just the first 20 minutes, okay? I managed to find my whiteboard, so I'm going to do everything on the whiteboard in terms of the neighbour, so... But yeah, I'm debating whether or not to make a coffee beforehand, because sometimes a coffee can like really calm me down, because it soothes me so much and it's like such a comfort for me. But that would mean it's the 3rd coffee I've had so far today. I'm like, should I wait until afterwards before I have another coffee? I don't know. But I've got my whole document. I've got my reviews, my thoughts on every single book. Like, so I am prepared. I am prepared for this. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I just got to keep telling myself it's going to be fine. Also, it's a beautiful day today. And I'm like, well, damn, because I would have loved to have, you know, went and walked down to a local coffee shop. That could have been awesome today, because I'm trying to think of the days that I can do that this week, because I always end up doing like so many live shows, and I've got like my mum coming on Wednesday and stuff like this. I'm like trying to fit things around it. It's like sometimes not possible. So like today could have been such a great day to have a walk down in this really nice weather at the minute. But no, something always comes up to keep me indoors. Anyway, I want to brush up on my notes and just get prepared for the next, again, like 38 minutes now. I've just finished the meeting and it went so well. Like, I don't know why I was nervous in the first place. This just always happens, okay? Anything different to the norm, if I have to leave the house to do anything, if I have to do anything live or just anything, just anxiety beforehand, you know, it's just the way it goes. But I always know that it goes well and I shouldn't worry about it so much beforehand, but it is what it is. I just worry. It's just what I do. Helps keep me sane, I think. Because I think if I was a little bit too cocky beforehand and I was like, oh, you know, everything's hunky-dory, it might have gone tits up, maybe. So I think being nervous beforehand just kind of keeps me level and calm in a way. Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I had to put a sign on the door, didn't I? And fortunately I did, because I could see from the corner of my eye someone coming up to the house. And yeah, they left a package and I said to put it next to the bin. And it is the Abominable Book Box subscription thing. So I did just sign up for it because I've like cancelled other subscriptions. Although saying that though, right, this is going to be a little rambly. So I cancelled my... what's it called again? Evernight, Illumicrate horror book box thing. Cancelled it because their picks have not been great. And then I found out the other day what their next pick is going to be. And I was like, are you kidding me? I actually genuinely really want to read that. And the UK cover for it is bloody awful. So if you don't want to be spoiled for the next Evernight, divert your eyes right now. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's this one. I'll not say it out loud just in case people are just like not looking and they don't want to be spoiled. It's this one, and this is the UK cover. It's absolutely disgusting. I do not like this UK cover. So I've re-signed up for the Evernight one just so I can get this book, and then I'll cancel it again afterwards. I just wanted this book. Anyway, I decided to go for the Abominable Book Box instead because I do want a horror book subscription box, and the Abominable one sounds like right up my street actually. There were so many great reviews for it. So it did come. It's like not an actual box, it was just like in a parcel thing. And you can see two of the books straight away. So if you don't want to be spoiled for the Abominable Book Box, look away now. Oh, actually, maybe skip ahead too because I'll probably talk about them. But yeah, you get like 3 books in it and it's so cheap. It's like you get 3 books and I don't care really that much for special editions anymore. So I don't care that these aren't like amazingly special editions or anything. They're just paperbacks, which is amazing. I just want to read them, you know? I just want really good horror recommendations. Or I think maybe they also do thriller sometimes as well. I don't know. But one of them is Smothermoss by Alyssa Alluring. I've never heard of this. Never heard of this. I love the cover. It looks so good. It seems quite short as well, so it'll be nice and snappy. Yeah, 250 pages. Oh, I'm so excited to read this now. It just looks so good. So that was one of them. The other one is Looking Glass Sound by Catriona Ward. I do own a couple of books by Catriona Ward, but fortunately I do not own this one. And I've read The Last House on Eagle Street and I thought it was good. Didn't blow me away, but I am excited to read this one too. And then there is the third book, which is Packaged Up. So it's a little bit like a mystery book, like what I did with the buying the blind date with the book thing that I did for Summerween. So I kind of love that. Let's open this together. I have no idea what this is. I love the fact that it has like the seal there as well. If you can hear banging upstairs, it's Ash and Tobo. You know, ever since moving here as well, they've been playing together a lot more, which has been fantastic actually. I mean, a lot of it's play fighting, but they play together a lot more, and that's great. Ooh, Harriet Tice. It ends at midnight. 3 friends, 2 bodies, and a potty to die for. It ends at midnight by Harriet Tice. Best-selling author of Blood Orange. I've seen Blood Orange around. I think that was like a thriller book of the month for Waterstones a few years back when I worked there. Oh, so it's a whodunit. So I think this is like a thriller mystery. So I guess, yeah, the Abominable Book Box is like horrors, thrillers, mysteries. That sounds great to me, honestly. That sounds so great. So I'm very happy, actually. Very, very happy. The fact that I get 3 recommendations, 3 books in one book box without all of the fluff around it. Just straightforward recommendations. That's exactly what I want from my book boxes. This one, though, is definitely catching my eye. I really want to read this now. So if anyone's read this one, let me know. I'm so glad I put on the door now not to knock and just put it down the side. Also, one of the cats did poop towards the start of the meeting. We were at this meeting for like 2 hours. And one of them did poop at pretty much the start of it, so I had to smell that the entire time. Ugh. Anyway, it's fine, it's done. I don't have any other like obligations for the rest of the day, I don't think. So I can just soldier on and maybe I might get started on the Book of the Most Precious Substance now. And if you want to know what this is about, apparently it is about a book where if you jizz on it, it reveals secrets or something like that. A rare book dealer called Lily, she is on this mission to find it. Like, she's given a job, a tip-off about the Book of the Most Precious Substance, and now she has to find it. I think for a collector. It's a 17th century manual rumoured to be the most powerful occult book ever written, if it really exists. It does sound right up my street, so yeah, I might actually make a start on that. I might lie down for a bit. I'm like socially drained. Oh, and look, you get a cool little bookmark too. Oh, cool, I didn't even say that. This is Spookmark 10, Series 6. Oh, and it has like a story on it as well. So the story must have started on Spookmark 1, Series 1, I guess. Great day has been had. Especially in contrast to yesterday, where I'm still so sad about Shannon Doherty's death. Oh, but I don't want to think about it too much. I've thought about it too much already. I need to try and move on. I was expecting maybe just a little bit more with the Book of the Most Precious Substance. I didn't fully love it. It was good, but the plot really did start to get a little bit repetitive. So we have Lily. She is after this book, and the book is essentially Lily finds a lead of who has the book. That lead turns out not to have the book, so she goes to the next person because she gets another lead, and then that person doesn't turn out to have the book, and then she goes to another person. So it's like a lot of that, which is honestly kind of fine because you don't want the story to be over too quickly. But yeah, there was like a lot of repetition, and I do love the fact that this uses sex magic. Like, I've never like experienced anything like that before, and honestly, like, some of it felt more believable than some like magic systems in, you know, fully fleshed out fantasy books and things like that. I thought, oh, this could like be a little bit believable. I like the way that Sarah Gran is presenting the story, but I must say, like, for a book that uses sex magic, it doesn't really go all the way, in my opinion. Like, it could have went a little bit further with the sex magic, or with like the sex in general. It felt a little bit tame, which is so odd to say considering the plot of this book. But yeah, it just didn't go the full extra mile that I thought it was going to go. I just expected something a little bit more sticky, you know? I mean, there was definitely like instances where it got a little sticky, and those were like very interesting moments. But yeah, I just thought, okay, you're going to have a book about sex magic, and the sex really isn't that deep or like that fleshed out. Okay. Fair enough, fair enough. I was going to give this a 3 for the majority of it, but then the ending I really did enjoy, so I'm going to give it a 3.5 stars instead. It's okay, not a 5 star. I'm like, oh, is it me? Am I like so hard to please that it's hard for me to give books 5 stars these days? But I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case at all. But I do like the relationship between Lily and her husband, and what she does for her husband, because her husband, his health is declining, and so she has like this drive and this goal throughout this book, which I think adds a whole element to her character that you do really see the driving force of her actions as the book progresses. Yeah, the little bit of a twist at the end was very intriguing. I liked it. Not your favourite of mine. I do still prefer Come Closer, but definitely going to read more from this author. I don't know if they have anything else out. They probably do. They've been writing for a while. So yeah, I want to see if there's anything else that I can read from them. Next, I'm going to read The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrun. Or Cochrun. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce it. I might try and download the audiobook and read along physically like I've been doing all week, because I am about to head to the library to return these books that I borrowed last week. I need to fill my July section for my library challenge video, and the prompt for that is to read a book that catches your eye. So I have free reign. I can just go into the library, just see what catches my eye and check it out. And at least that'll be done, because it is a little bit of a trek now to get to my library. It isn't just a 5-minute walk like it used to be. And it's not quite the same as my previous library. So I need to film some of that video. And then I'm going to hang out in that area. I'm probably going to go to Costa and sit in there for a little bit to have a coffee and read and maybe have something to eat, because I haven't eaten yet. I just didn't really have an appetite this morning, so I skipped breakfast. But yeah, I'm starting to get pretty hungry now, actually. And then I have sprint at 5, so I need to be back here by 5 o'clock. So I'm back from having my 2 cappuccinos at Costa, and I managed to get 125 pages into The Charm Offensive. Now, I am listening to the audiobook alongside reading this, and I found it interesting that the main character, well, one of them anyway, his name is Dev. Well, D-A-V, that's how it's spelled, Dev, but the audiobook narrator calls him Dave. So is that how you pronounce it? So I'm call him Dave, but it just say Dev Deshpande on the back. And we also have Charlie. I haven't told you what this one is about, I don't think, but Dave does work on this long-running reality show called Ever After, where there is a Prince Charming, and it's like a little bit like The Bachelor, where he gets to crown his princess by the end of it, and they end up relationships and stuff like that. But like, the one thing about this is that a lot of reality TV is fake, but Dave is so in love with the idea of love through this reality show that he's able to overlook so many of the things that prevent it from being authentic. And this year's kind of bachelor character is Charlie, and Charlie, he deals with very severe like anxiety, OCD, and Charlie is trying to fix his reputation, and Dave ends up becoming his handler. And I find it such a great way of putting two characters together who you just kind of know that they're going to fall in love, and it's going to be so cute and adorable, because I am loving this so far. I love the fact that there is just so much plot happening around these characters that it's not one of those things where, like, say for Emily Henry, for example, the characters feel like such cardboard caricatures of what a romance hero and heroine should be, but these characters feel like really, really real, and I love the fact that we are exploring them through the plot rather than the other way around. So for instance, yeah, Charlie is like thrust into being the star of this reality show, and you get to see him behind the scenes, you get to see how that affects him as a character, and Dave as well, working on this show and having this set idea about the show. And I love the fact that they start doing these like fake dates in order to help Charlie become more confident with the dates with the women on the show. It's kind of that slow release of tension between these characters and them getting to know one another through everything else around that, and how busy and hectic their lives are being caught up in this reality television world. So exciting. So exciting. The romances that I prefer are the ones where the characters feel genuinely real, and that's how these characters are coming across as. Now, I've never watched The Bachelor, and I don't really watch reality television where it involves people hooking up and getting together and falling in love. I don't do any of that, but I do... Oh, that's just my reminder that I have Patreon reading sprints in 30 minutes. Which my friend Becca from Becca and the Books is joining me tonight, so that's going to be really fun. But anyway, you do have these like kind of story notes for editors at the end of some of the chapters. The chapters are really long, by the way, like very long, but they are broken up because they are in different POVs. So you get like Charlie's POV, you get Dave's POV, and it like switches in the chapters, but you do have headings, so it's still easy to follow along with, and it makes those really long chapters feel a lot more digestible. But I do love the like story notes at the end of each chapter to do with like the episode that corresponds with that week that we've just spent with the characters. It's just so good. I really like that kind of addition to the story. But yeah, I'm loving it. This could potentially be 5-star depending on if it keeps up my intrigue with the like romance that could potentially happen. I don't know if it's actually going to happen by the end of it. There is like still a lot of questioning, a lot of things that haven't really quite fit into place just yet, but I'm very, very keen to see where the story goes and to see where the character journeys end up taking them. I feel like it's going to get pretty heavy though, because it's already been pretty heavy with some of the like triggers, like say for like the mental health triggers and the OCD and the anxiety. It's very strong so far. It's like very, very strong, but it's doing it in such a good way, like a really, really good way. So Alison Cochrun, you could be the author that changes things in this vlog. Oh my god, it's literally gotten so dark. It looks like it's gonna hail down with rain. Yeah, you can just tell the rain is coming. It's a coming. It's now so dark in this house, but you can't really tell right now because of the phone. But yeah, it's just, it got so dark so quick. I'm so glad I got home when I did, because the heavens are gonna open. Y'all ready for reading sprints?
To learn more about it. This is his real life story. This is nonfiction. But love that book. And then also...
Boys, you had better stop kissing one another. You are Ashlyn Tobu Hetherington, not Ashlyn Tobu Heather incest. Now let's not kid ourselves. We are not here today to talk about books. That's not what you clicked on this video for, is it? Gavin reads it all? No. Gavin explains it all. Gavin explains all of the neighbour drama. So that is essentially what we're doing today. I have a little rundown of the things that have been happening next door. And this will be a bit of a recap as well for anyone who didn't watch my Summerween vlogs or anything like that, so you don't know exactly what's going on. This will essentially be the definitive way of finding out the neighbour drama. Because there was something I teased in the pinned comment in my final Summerween vlog, because something happened on that very final day that I wasn't able to talk about because the video had already been filmed and edited and scheduled to upload. So I couldn't talk about it then, but I can talk about it now. And also I can talk about it as loud as I want because fortunately I wait until the neighbour left. And there's something that happened then as well after she left. Let's just say some property damage has occurred on Gavsteria Lane. And Gavsteria Lane is not actually where I live. I'm not going to dox myself. So July 1st, I moved in. Beautiful day. Beautiful day to move in. I mean, it was stressful. It was definitely stressful. If you watched my move-in vlog, you will know that was a very stressful day in itself. Lots of last-minute things ended up happening that almost stopped me from moving in, essentially. Because literally my life is just drama. It's just drama. I don't mean it to be. The drama follows me wherever I go, apparently. But yeah, July 1st moved in. July 2nd, okay, Carol puts her filthy washing on my fence. So I don't actually know the next door neighbour's name. I don't know her name at all. But we're going to call her Carol. That's just her name for today until I find out what it is. It's essentially Florence situation where at my local library, or at least my last local library, I made a library arch nemesis. And I just called her Florence because that's just what I thought she was called. So yeah, Carol puts her filthy washing on my fence. Like, she actually, outside the fence between our gardens, she puts her washing on the fence so that half of it is hanging over onto my side. It's my first morning there. Why would you do that? Why would you put freshly clean washing on a filthy fence? It's been raining. It has actually been raining. That fence would have been a little bit soggy. And it started raining later as well. She had to bring it back in. One of those dirty garments fell into my garden. It actually fell into my... I didn't grab it. I didn't get it. She must have reached under the fence and pulled it through because I wasn't going to touch that. Anyway, also on my very first morning here, their alarm went off twice. Went off at 8 AM and then again at about 2 AM. In both times, the alarms were going off for about half an hour. And they're the house alarms. It's not like when the electricity goes off or the power goes off. It's like the actual house alarm was going off for half an hour. It was like she didn't know how to turn it off. So I was thinking, that's a little bit weird, isn't it? That's a little bit weird. And at the time as well, I was getting the internet man to install my internet. And even he was like, are they not going to turn that off? Like... apparently not. So on July 3rd, my mum came and she was like helping me out and stuff. And she went outside for a cigarette. So she was outside at the front of the house. And the guy next door, so apparently they're a couple, man and woman. And the guy next door, he comes up to my mum and he's high as a kite. Allegedly. Allegedly, he is high as a kite. And it's 2 PM. 2 PM in the day. He's asking her for a cigarette. She kind of like finds out a little bit more about him as well. Apparently they've just moved in too. They have 2 huskies. So cute, so adorable. And yeah, I think they work from home too. Like, my mum didn't really get too much information out of that. But also, he just turns around and says, is your son gay? And my mum was like, yeah, why? And he was like, oh, nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with that. My brother's gay. But yeah, we were watching him during moving day and he was wearing pink. It's like, okay. I'm going to enforce those outdated stereotypes. Okay, so that's the kind of neighbours I'm living with. But nothing criminal just yet, nothing criminal. And I can't exactly say anything criminal has happened. Again, allegedly, everything's alleged. So he goes back in. I've never actually met him still. Never seen him to this day. Only my mum did, so I'm wondering, like, does he even exist? And then on July 4th, we have a turning point in this mystery. The police come. The police have surrounded the house, front and back. One of the policemen went into my garden because I live on like this little street, like there's loads of like turns and stuff, and the place I live in is like 3 houses all attached. Mine's on the end, neighbours in the middle, and somebody else on the other side. And down the side of my house, you can get into my garden. Like, there's not a fence or anything to stop you. So the policeman went actually into my garden to look into her garden next door. And then, yeah, one of them went round the back to, you know, watch the house from the back. And they were there for a long time. And then suddenly and randomly, out of nowhere, the policeman at the back, he starts going into her garden and lets himself into her house. And she does sometimes leave that back door open for the huskies. Even when she's going out, she just leaves the back door open and unlocked, apparently. Although actually saying that since then, she hasn't really let the huskies out that much. But don't worry, we'll get to that, The policeman let himself inside. The policeman at the front come in. And I'm like, are they dead? Are next door dead? Because I didn't hear any raised voices. I didn't hear any barking. Like, are they about to remove some bodies? Essentially, that's where I first went. But no, like, they were there for a while and then they left and there wasn't anything else that came. They came back the next day on July 5th and they're there for a good few hours. In fact, I have this part in, I think, my Summerween Day 1 and 2 vlogs. So I do talk a lot about it in there too. But yeah, they let themselves in. They must, like, be raiding the place or something. And so my mum said, oh, do you think they're squatters? Do you think they actually were supposed to be there? Because something else my mum found out is the guy next door said that his friend used to live there. And she ended up moving out, and apparently there was like some kind of thing where someone smashed her windows and stuff like that. So it sounded like a really scary kind of violent thing that happened. And when you're mixed up with the wrong kind of people, maybe that does happen quite often. So my mum thought, oh, maybe she gave him the keys to next door, and so like they've just been like living there when they weren't supposed to, and that would explain why the alarms went off and they couldn't turn it off, because they're not really supposed to be there. But ever since then, I don't think that's quite the case, because they're still there. Well, at least she is next door. I again haven't seen him, but she's still next door. And I know what you're thinking as well, oh, is this like a case of domestic violence? It's really not. It's not. I wouldn't be talking about it in this way if it was anything like that, because that would just be really awful of me. So nothing like that. Anyway, they could potentially be squatters, and that's why the police came. They were getting the stuff out the house and they were changing the locks or whatever, but that can't be the case because they're still there, or at least she's still there, and the Huskies are. So I'm still confused about the whole thing. Anyway, on July 7th, I start documenting the Huskies because they are left quite a lot. And they're left quite alone. And it is getting a little bit hot now in the UK. I mean, it is summer, but, you know, it's a grey summer. But, like, they're left quite a lot. So I've started taking, like, timestamps of when they're, like, howling and yelping. They are quite quiet most of the time. But every now and then, like, I'll hear them crying. And so I'll document it. And I'll also document when she leaves the house and when she returns to the house. For example, on Monday, 8th of July, she left the house at 12:45, returned at 2 p.m. But then she went out again at 4 p.m. And then I didn't hear her come back. I also want to mention as well that on Wednesday, July 3rd, they went out at like 5 p.m. or something. It didn't come back until like 2 a.m. Left the Huskies there for that amount of time. And if they've just moved in there as well, those poor Huskies, that's not their usual habitat, you know, it's not their usual surroundings. So I'm like, those poor babies. Those poor babies. I could not leave Ash and Torbo for that long. Anyway, I started documenting it because, you know, just in case, I don't want to get anyone in trouble. Again, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I do have, you know, some videos of them yelping, like where you can hear them through the wall. And I'm just keeping a diary, essentially. I'm keeping a diary of all of it, just in case I do have to, you know, go to the RSPC or whatever. But I don't want to get anyone in trouble. I don't. So this is just something I'm just keeping track of, just in case. Then we go on to July 11th, and some councilmen knock. And again, she's not answering. She's not answering the door at all. And that confused me. I'm like, why are you avoiding the council? That's very suspicious. Because, yeah, she just wouldn't answer the door. And I knew she was in. Like, I'd heard her. I still haven't heard him, but I've heard her. So, yeah, she was pottering on, ignoring them. They finally left. And then, on July 12th, the police return. And this is where we have the July 12th incident. This is what happened that day when I couldn't mention it in a vlog, but I did do that pinned comment on the Summerween vlog, so everyone was like, come on, tell us now, because he's all impatient. You're all nosy, did you know that? You're very, very nosy. Like, it couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. 11:45 a.m, 3 policemen knock on the door. They're back. They are back, and there's no answer. There is no answer again. And you know what? At this point, I'm like, okay, maybe she's not in. Maybe she isn't in. I don't think I've heard her this morning, so that's neither here nor there. Maybe she's just not in. I'm like, why are they back? Why are they back? At 12:20 p.m, the police leave. So they're only there for probably like 45 minutes-ish, 35, 45 minutes. And then at 12:39 p.m, a car pulls up outside the house and honks. And guess who comes out 2 minutes later? Carol. She was in that house the entire time. She was ignoring the police. So this is when I was like, okay, why is she evading the police? If it was something to do with him, who I haven't seen come back, she would have answered the door, right? She would have said something to them, right? Why is she avoiding the police? And once again, one of the policemen circled round into the garden to see if he could see into her garden. Like, they are very intense with trying to get in touch with Carol, and she is purposefully avoiding them. Yes, she exits the house and she gets in the car. And guess who took photos of the entire thing? Yep, I have photographic evidence of the getaway car, the license plate of this car, and her actually getting in the car. So there's no question that she got in it, only like 20 minutes after the police left. There's no question. I have the receipts. I have the receipt. Again, just in case, and this is all alleged. This is all allegedly. Just in case. And I did actually do the live chat for Northumbria police. Because I was messaging like, oh, I think I'm living next door to a criminal. Like, do I need to be scared for my safety and stuff? So I let them know what had happened that morning. And the person was just like, oh, we can't tell you anything. I was like, okay, I'll go fuck myself then. So yeah, I couldn't get anything out of Northumbria police. Which I can understand, but also it's a bit annoying. So anyway, she's gone pretty much the entire day again. She comes back at 7 p.m. Where's she been all day? What's she been doing? A bit weird, a bit weird. But what's even weirder is at 7:25 p.m, a white car pulls up and a man gets out and knocks on the door. She answers and she gives him this package that's wrapped in this white plastic bag. And he takes this package and he puts it in the boot of his car, closes the boot and drives away. I was like, okay. It's drugs. Gotta be drugs. Again, allegedly, maybe, perceptively, I think my next door neighbour is a drug dealer. And considering she's the one who's been avoiding the police, I think she is the one. She's the drug dealer. I do. And it would make sense if the guy was high on July 3rd. Maybe he wasn't actually her boyfriend. Maybe he was that high, he just told my mum anything. You know what I mean? Like, can you really trust someone's account when they're high at 2 p.m? So that guy's taking a package from Carol and driven away. At 10 p.m, Carol gets a pizza delivery. And I'm like, is it pizza? Is it really? Is it really pizza, Carol? Or is this all an operation to make it look like pizza, but actually smuggling drugs? Then why aren't the police just arresting her then if that's the case? So yeah, if she's a drug dealer, then why haven't the police arrested her by now? If they keep knocking on her door like pretty much every week now since I've lived here, like what are they waiting for? Like, I know she never answers, maybe they need a warrant again, but they were inside the house though. They were inside the house on July 4th. They did get inside it. And again on July 5th, they were inside the house. Like, were they raiding it for drugs? Did they come back a week later to search again? Did they get a tip-off? I genuinely don't know. But that is essentially pretty much what's happened on Gavsteria Leigh in season 1 so far. But yeah, just before today, probably about half an hour to an hour ago, there was, you know, one of those long vans that doesn't have like anything on the back. Like, you could put a car on it essentially. And like, she got in her car and she was like driving up and then one of the guys was in the van thing. And then he reversed into that fence just like right across the street and damaged that property. Like, I know that's not her fault, but like, I feel like if she's the new neighbour, essentially with me, like we're both new neighbours, sounds to me like all she's done is cause trouble since moving in. And like, I'm not judgmental at all, like I'm not a judgmental person. Like, I always say the best in people, but honestly all roads lead to criminal activity going on next door, if you ask me. Allegedly, perceivably. And that's what you missed on Glee. No more updates, but again, like I might have, you know, a sprinkling of neighbour stuff in future vlogs, just in case anything does happen. And this vlog isn't even over yet. I still have like a couple more days. So there might still be something else that happens. Maybe. But I do want to say that I have finished my next 2 books. It is currently Thursday. I last updated you on Tuesday when I was about to read. So, or was I actually on sprints? I think I was on sprints with Becca for Patreon. And I did finish this on Tuesday. And I read all of this and finished it yesterday. And I was going to like do all the updates yesterday and stuff. But all I wanted to do was read. I didn't want to film. It would have been so helpful if I had, you know, filmed my reaction and review to the Charm Offensive yesterday. Now I've got like an hour of talking about stuff today, which is fine, but I could have saved myself this trouble yesterday. But yeah, I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to, and I wasn't going to force myself. So the Charm Offensive. I really did love this one. I did. I loved it. I thought it was great. I was hooked until the very end. I will say something has stopped me from giving it 5 stars. Like, it is a 4.5. Like, it's the closest you could possibly get. And I think I might have initially been like, oh yeah, 5 stars. I've sat on it for a couple of days now, and it's 4.5. Like, I'm sorry, and no spoilers, no spoilers. I'm sorry, but the 3rd act is so unbelievable. There is no way a lot of that was like kind of possible. Like, I love the idea of it. I love the romance of it. I loved how it made me feel by the end. I was smiling, I was happy, but there was a certain like element to it that just wasn't believable to me. Like, I would have had to have suspended my disbelief and thrown it to another country in order for me to actually fully believe everything that happened at the end there. And it's probably not the thing that you're thinking of if you read this and you're thinking, oh Gav, you think that's unbelievable? That's probably not what I'm talking about. Should I just say, like, should I do like a spoiler thing on the screen? Should I do a spoiler thing? Okay, I'm going to do a spoiler thing on the screen. So if you haven't read it yet, please do skip forward until like the spoiler thing's like gone off the screen. But yeah, I'm going to talk about though just the one thing that's just like prevented me from giving it 5 stars in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. go. So I love the fact that they get together at the end, like Dave and Charlie, in that it's like this huge thing on television. Like the season of Ever After becomes like the first one to have a queer, like kind of main character relationship kind of thing. Like I love that so much. But how in the world did Dave not see any of that for like however long the season was airing? Because yeah, at the end of filming, like Dave just went away. Like there was a little bit of drama between him and Charlie and like everything that happened on set essentially, and he went away and he was ignoring Charlie for a long time and he wasn't talking to him. And then Ever After started airing and somehow he didn't see any of that, even though they've edited it in a way where Dave is one of the main characters in the season. His love story with Charlie is broadcasted to like over 20 million viewers, and for that entire period I know Dave was avoiding things. I know he was living with his parents at the time, I believe, but like how does he not see that for an entire however long it aired, like 2 months or something? I just don't believe the ending of that. I don't believe he would never have seen that. Are you telling me he never went out to get something to drink or something to eat or like pick up some groceries and not a single person approached him about it? Like I don't find it that believable. But I do love the fact that they end up together and it was like the whole live thing, and like Dave like appears and like as Charlie's like having the interview about the season and he's heartbroken that Dave isn't there with him, and then Dave appears. Like that is so romantic, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, I loved it. But I can't fully believe all of that would have gone down before that, like leading up to that. I would have believed it more, and I wish the author had done this. Like, make Dave go to a different country, like make him like go backpacking or something. His heart is broken and he feels like travel is the way to go, so maybe he goes to, I don't know, like Thailand or somewhere that a lot of tourists go to, like kind of get away from things. Like I feel like that could have been believable, and then when he came back it was like just in time for the live finale by accident, and then he sees it all. I feel like that would have been so much more believable, but unfortunately, like, I just, yeah. Anyway, that was the only kind of nitpicky thing that I have. I do pretty much love everything else surrounding that. So all the spoilers are over with now. But yes, I do love the exploration of the darker themes. I thought it was really well done. I just freaking loved how real the characters felt as well, despite it being set predominantly on this like reality TV show, and the fact that a lot of it is supposed to be like fake and, you know, test dates and stuff like that. Like a lot of it was supposed to be superficial and not real, and I just love how much more real the characters felt because of that. So yeah, really, really loved it, but I can't in good conscience give it the 100% 5 stars. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone, but this is my favourite one so far of this vlog. I freaking did love it. I did. And then we're moving on to the Tainted Cup. Now, I don't think I mentioned what this one is about. This is more like a murder mystery fantasy kind of thing. We have an investigator called Anna and her apprentice Din. I freaking loved their dynamic. I loved how funny Anna was a lot of the time. Like, for instance, she's telling him to make sure he's equipped with a sword, and he's like, oh, but I'm an apprentice, I can't have a sword. And she's like, well, hell, I don't know, bring a big fucking stick or something. Like, the amount of time she said fuck to begin with was so funny to me. It did get a little bit overbearing as the book went on, and I was a little bit like, okay, like, you don't have to say fuck to be funny, or like be as vulgar with your language to be as funny. But I still absolutely loved her character, and I loved Din's character as well by the end too. I thought their dynamic was so fun, so good. I loved how Din was, like, again, no spoilers, but like he sticks to his morals. Like, he's a very good moralistic character, if that's the right way of saying it. But yeah, it is like a bit of a like a Sherlock Holmes type thing to begin with. Something's happened to the wall, and there are like leviathans that they are trying to like protect the world from, and they're like on the outside, but because of the damage to this wall, all bets are off essentially. And it did give me actual like Attack on Titan vibes because of that, as well as like Frosthall, like my favorite middle grade series with the leviathans and stuff. Like, oh my god, like I love stuff like that. So the puzzle and the mystery of it did keep me pretty intrigued throughout, because I thought, oh yeah, this is a pretty interesting. But I will say, like, for a good chunk of this book I was a little bit bored. It isn't really that much heavy on action as it is like dialogue and the figuring out of what's going on and like what's threatening the empire and stuff like that. So while the writing was absolutely great, like absolutely great writer, I will definitely read more from this writer. I probably would only just give this one maybe like a 3.5. Like, it isn't one that really fully blew me away. Emma, I'm so sorry. I needed just like a little bit more to happen for me to really get fully immersed in this world. And I still don't feel like I was all that fully immersed with this world. I still feel like there was so much that I could have been shown that would have helped to solidify where I was in the tone of this world. Because, you know, we do have characters that use like very modern day language with like this fantasy setting, and sometimes I had a little bit of an issue or like a problem with trying to totally realize what the tone of this book was. Maybe it is like very intentional to have like sort of clashing kind of tones to this book, from like the dialogue and how modern most of it felt to like this very like fantasy setting where they have carriage rides and swords and stuff like that. Like, so it was a little bit jarring to me. It is one that I think, now that I kind of know what to expect going into it, I think this is the first in a series, so like I can absolutely go forward with the series knowing what to expect from it. I do also think that my love for reading Agatha Christie novels helps with reading this one too, because yeah, there's a lot of investigating, a lot of us meeting new characters to kind of get to the bottom of the mystery, and you do meet some really interesting secondary characters that I would love to figure out more of their intentions and their characterizations moving forward. But I do need a little bit more when it comes to the world building. I do need a little bit more of those fantasy elements that I just think this book lacked a little bit. But again, like, not bad at all. Not bad whatsoever. Again, 3.5 is still very good. This is one of the first books I've read of this kind, so that's probably why it's a little bit lower than I think a lot of people would give it, because I've heard nothing but great things about this one. A lot of people have praised it, and I think maybe I just need to build up to this one a little bit more for me to like fully get immersed in this world. I would still definitely read another book in this series. I would read more by this author 100%, and I just freaking love this cover so much. I love how pretty and beautiful that scenery is. I just wish we got a little bit more of that in the actual novel, and maybe have a little bit more atmosphere, which is something I think was lacking just a little bit. But who knows, maybe the sequel will answer all of my criticisms that I had. In what criticisms, really? Like, it's not really that much of a criticism. But no, I'm so glad I got 2 more read in this video. I'm glad I got these finished, and relatively quickly too. Like, I am in such a reading mood. Like, all I want to do is sit down and read these books, and that's essentially what I've been doing. So I didn't really have anything interesting to film yesterday, so that's why I didn't really film anything yesterday. I was just reading. Also, there was some like drama with some paranormal investigator channels. I don't know if anyone watches Overnight. That is run by like Elton, and there was like this recurring paranormal investigator on the channel called Corey, and the Overnight channel uploaded a video yesterday called The Real Reason Corey Quit or something like that, in like drama. Just drama. So I was a little bit sucked in by that too, because I can never get bored of YouTube internet drama, never. So I'm so excited that the next book I'm going to be reading is Battle Royale. This will be the last book in this video. It is the longest one, but not only is it the longest one, but it's the one I've been the most looking forward to. This is the one that I do think is right up my street. I've heard compared to the Hunger Games, it is a class of junior high school students that get dropped off on this island and are forced to battle until one is alive, essentially. They are provided arms and forced to kill one another until only one survivor is left standing. And I already love how there is like this map thing at the start that has this, I don't know what you call it, it's like the grid format, where it has like the C1, C2, like H7 or something like that. Like, it has all of those in, and it has the forbidden zones there. So apparently at 3:08 AM, G07, which is the school, there's like a school on this island, that is forbidden at 3:08 AM. At 7 AM, J02 is forbidden, and that just looks like it's in the water there, where this ship is. So that's forbidden at 7 AM. On the 22nd, so then on the 23rd, different ones are forbidden. That is so cool. Like, I love that so much. So I'm really excited to start this one. I'm hoping to get most of it read today and tomorrow, because I have my friends staying over on Saturday and they haven't seen the place yet, so I'm very excited to show them. And they're staying the night as well, so that'll be nice. So I do want to get this done by then. I do have a Charmed Witch along tonight, the first one since Shannon Doherty's passing, so that's going to be sad. So I'm probably going to have some cocktails tonight to celebrate Shannon Doherty's life. And we are watching season 7, episodes 7, 8 and 9 tonight. Let's get Battle Royale started, because I have no more time to waste. It's a big ass book. Made myself an iced latte, and now I'm ready to read.
'Cause the smoke stopped hurting my lungs, and the drink stopped burning my tongue, it's true.
It is only 20 minutes until my Charmed Witch along, and I have managed to get 152 pages of Battle Royale read. I am probably a little bit behind of what I would like to be, honestly, because I was a little bit distracted today. I'm thinking I might try and do some dating again, maybe. I re-downloaded all of the apps last night. Because you know how hard it is to actually like go out in person and meet people? Like, how does that happen? Do I just go into a random bar and just sit there waiting for someone to show up? So I've downloaded loads of different apps. Is it going well? I mean, I'm talking to a couple of people. It's like nothing serious. It's like a casual convo and then it just fizzles out. But last night, somebody asked me what my top 3 manga was, and I said One Piece, Berserk, and Spy Family, and he blocked me. He fucking blocked me. So I'm already thinking I'm gonna give up. But anyway, yeah, I've just been chatting to people, just seeing what's about, you know, dating in 2024. Maybe that is the next thing for me. You know, I've just moved house. That was a huge step. And maybe finally being in a relationship, considering I've never been in one before. Maybe that is the next step for 2024. Who knows? Speaking of love in relationships, Battle Royale. I am loving this so far. I genuinely think this is going to end up being my favourite one in this vlog. Like, I don't want to speak too early because I don't want to jinx it, but I am loving it. I mean, maybe I was a little bit unsure with the very first chapter, like just to begin with, because we were getting introduced to so many different characters, and like you can't really do that many characters justice, right? But then it got really intriguing really quickly. They're being literally taken to this island. They wake up in this classroom on this island because, you know, this island was habited by people, but they've been told to leave for this thing to happen. Oh, hello, Tobio, and great, he's gonna eat now, and all I'm gonna hear is mouth sounds. Rude. I know he needs to eat to stay alive, but this is honestly so rude. So yeah, this island, it does have like houses and even a general store and stuff. Like, things are on this island. It's not like this remote island where there was like nothing on it whatsoever, just like trees and mountains or whatever. I mean, there are some of that too, but it was actually a residential place too. So it just adds even more things to it that I think is so interesting. I mean, we are mainly following Shuya, but a lot of the times we get different chapters where it's someone else, and it's so good the way it's being set up, because you get a little bit of backstory every now and then too. You're kind of embellishing these characters who, well, you kind of know like a lot of them are just going to die. Like, you're not going to spend too much time with them, which just makes it that much more bittersweet, that much more heartbreaking. And having that approach to the story is so good. It has been absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. And sometimes as well, like the way that the death happens, it's just like kind of a little bit beautifully described in a way, if that makes sense. Like, it isn't just like, oh, that person killed them and now they're dead kind of thing. There's like a little bit more beauty to it in a way, like, which is weird. Like, a lot of the writing style is very direct, but it's a lot more creepy the way that it happens. I love so much about it. Like, it is definitely giving Hunger Games vibes, and I know this came first, you know, just with things being like danger zones, and that's to make sure that they're moving around, otherwise like they'll just end up hiding and not coming out. So there are a lot of things that you do see that Hunger Games has been inspired by. And each chapter as well ends with like 32 students remain, 40 students remain. Oh, and there was like a really sweet, sad thing that happened on page 107. Oh, it was just... And some of these characters are scaring me too. Some of the characters are definitely scaring me. And then it just makes you think, like, what would you do in that situation? What would you do if you were put on an island with your classmates and you were told, okay, only one of you will live? The rest of you will die, but you have to be the one to kill them. And if you don't do it, then someone's going to kill you first. It's like the paranoia, the fear, the terror, all of it is just so terrifying. But the way it's being explored is so good through the main character. Like, the questions he asks, I mean, sometimes the questions are getting a little bit repetitive now. At this point I'm now like, okay, get over it. Just suck it up and do what you gotta do. But getting little glimpses into the other students, whether or not it's before they die or before they kill, it's just so nice to be able to get something from them, to understand what they're going through and why they're doing it. Honestly, I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far, and it just started pretty quickly. There is like no time wasted, essentially. No time wasted whatsoever. But as an example, sometimes your chapters can be this short. It's so good. It is so good. So after the Charmed Witch Along is over, I'll most likely still be quite awake, unless drinking the cocktails make me incredibly tired. But I do want to maybe try and get to the page 300 mark tonight, because then at least that would be around about halfway through, and then hopefully I can read a lot more tomorrow, which I think I will be able to manage. So the cocktail things that I found while moving, I had absolutely no idea that I had these. I have like these bottles that are kind of cute, like very, very cute, but these are just like the actual already mixed cocktails. So all you have to do is just pour it into a glass, shake vigorously with ice, and strain into a chilled glass. Okay, well, I can do that. I mean, I can't strain it. I don't know how to do that, but I've got ice. So I have Negroni, espresso martini, and a margarita. So I'll most likely have all three of these, but I genuinely have no idea where these came from. No idea how I got these. I must have gotten them for a birthday at some point and just threw them in a cupboard like 2 years ago and just didn't realise. But I hope they taste good, because a lot of already made cocktails do not taste good. Cocktails in a can, I mean, sometimes they can be okay, but they're not that great. Phoebe and Cole in season 3. Of like any kind of new love interest. Oh my god, there's a spider on the wall. Oh my god, there's a spider on the wall. And it's moving pretty quickly. It's moving pretty quickly. Oh, it's a little bit biggish. It's a little bit biggish. I might need to get a cup and some paper, but the paper's upstairs, or is it? Oh, there is something I can use down here. Okay, I'm gonna have to get rid of it now. I'm gonna use this cup. I need to get the back door ready, but I don't want Ash. I don't want you to run out. Ash, I need you to go out. It's still there. It's still there. Ash, I don't want you to run. Yeah, run. Oh, this is so scary. I hate doing this. Should I use my check from British Gas because they owe me 150 quid? Should I use that? Or should I use my council tax bill? Oh my god, it's been so long since I've had to do this. Oh my god, it's running around. Oh no, oh my god. It's like literally running around the cup. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so scared. I am so scared. Oh my god, it's like, it's so fast. Oh my god, if I open it just a fraction, it will run out. I just know it. Oh my god, I just know it. Oh my god, I just know it. Oh my god, I'm too scared. I'm too scared. What can I do? What can I do? I'm stuck. Guys, I'm stuck. I can't do it. I'm too scared. Oh my god, it's running around. Oh my god, it's literally running around so much. It's like on the rim of the glass now. It's like ready to come out. As soon as I move it a little bit to get the postcard in, it's gonna run. It is gonna run. Oh, it's gonna run. It's gonna run. It's gonna run. Oh, okay, I got the postcard in. Oh, I got the postcard in. Oh, I've got the postcard on. Oh no, I can't do it. I can't do it, guys. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Is there any way I can possibly just keep the glass here forever? Okay. Right, I've got it. At least I got it off the wall. Oh my god, I got it off. Right, I got it off the wall. I'm fine now. I am fine. I'm alive. It's in the cup. At least it's in the cup, but I'm not brave enough to move it. I'm not brave enough to move it. That cup. I don't know if you can see it, but it's in that cup. I managed to get it there. It's going to take me ages to get brave enough to put it outside, so I've put it there for now. As soon as the live show's over, I'll take it outside. I'm currently waiting for my mum to come because I did have different oat milk and it's just vile. It's just not nice. So my mum, Godspeed, is coming later to visit anyway, and she is bringing the oat milk that I like, so I'm just waiting for that so I can have a good cup of coffee. I was up pretty late last night reading more of Battle Royale. I got to page 241. I can't put it down. I can't put it down. I mean, obviously I put it down because I had to go to bed, but I would have kept on reading if tiredness hadn't taken over. You know, one thing that I'm really enjoying about this that I think does have an advantage over other kinds of stories like this that I've read personally is that everyone pretty much knows each other, and that is just terrifying. Constantly questioning who you can trust, questioning people who you have known for a long time. It could be your best friend and you may have to kill them or they may kill you first. It's just so intense and it's so good. And even though it is massive, it is long, and even this could constitute as a full-ass novel in itself, it still has me gripped. It hasn't been boring for me yet. The characters are really making it. And even when you think, because yeah, there is a big cast of characters and they're being whittled down pretty much one by one, and some of the character names are pretty similar to one another. It can be very hard to really zone in on who is who for a good chunk of this, but you do really start to pick up on it. You do start to understand the character quirks and the backstories and what makes them them, and it's becoming so much more digestible, considering it starts off in like this massive scope and now it's just like a free-for-all essentially. So you are just taking the characters as they come. So freaking good, so good. I do have such strong good feelings about this one, but again, I don't want to jinx it too much because I thought I was going to give the Charm Offensive 5 stars, for instance, and that could potentially be something that makes me not want to give it the full 5 stars. That could happen, but I do want at least 1 5-star in this vlog so badly, so I'm going to try and not let that judge whether I give this 5 stars or not. Like, do I genuinely think this deserves a 5 stars, or am I just going to give it 1 because I want a 5-star in this vlog, you know? Like, I'm going to be wrestling with that for the rest of the book. I want to give it the rating it deserves no matter what, but I just love it so far. There is a list of characters, like a class roster at the start as well, but I am kind of marking everyone off who dies, and I also have the order that they're dying in, because that also helps me to keep the cast of characters pretty straightforward in my head, and it's just making me want to watch the film because I heard there's a film of it, so I really want to watch that. And I also want to get the manga, but the manga is out of print. It's, I think, 15 volumes. It's out of print, and I did look on eBay and there are a couple of people selling it, but they're selling it for like £160 or something like that, and again, I just don't have the money to be spending on these big book purchases right now. I need to recover my finances, but I did, like last weekend, I forgot to mention this, but I did book my tickets to Egypt, my plane tickets, because I am hosting a Trova trip in Egypt in November. Very excited for that, so I finally got round to actually booking those tickets. And I'm just broke. I'm just completely drained financially now. But I'm just so relieved that I got that booked so I can just enjoy the rest of the wait for Egypt, because it was the thing that was weighing me down. I was like, oh, I still need to get the plane tickets. It's going to be so expensive. But I'm also going to Melbourne just before that as well to visit some of my friends. And it's our 10-year friendship anniversary this year. And one of them is getting married next year too. So I'm going to see them for a few days before my Egypt trip. So I'm going from the UK to Australia, then Australia to Egypt, and then Egypt to home. End of October, start November is going to be pretty intense, but at least that's done and it's all good. But it was kind of the deciding factor of whether or not I got those manga volumes, and I said no. I said no, I can't afford it. And I might as well do a quick little shout out right now for my Norway trip in August 2025. I will leave a link in the description box if you fancy traveling to Norway with me. I do have a group trip for it. It looks absolutely incredible. I've never been to Norway before. It's always been a dream of mine, and I already have 11 amazing people signed up for the trip. There are still some spots left, so if you do fancy it, check it out. You don't have to commit to anything just yet, but just check it out. See if it looks like your kind of thing. You only need to pay a deposit as well to like secure your spot on the trip essentially. You don't actually have to pay the rest of it until next year, which is great. But I'm excited for that as well. And I'm not going to harp on about it too much. I know you guys probably get sick of me whenever I mention it, but yeah, I'm excited and I hope you can come along. Now I'm going to spend the entire rest of today, well, I need my mum to come as well, like, so once she's gone, I will spend the rest of today reading all of Battle Royale. I'm finishing it today. I don't want to stop. Next time you see me, this will be finished. Well, what else was I gonna rate it? 5 stars. 5 mother stars. I loved it. I loved it so much. And yeah, pretty much everything I said before stands. The characters were still... And you just have to think, who is the real enemy? Who is the real enemy here? What are we fighting against? Who are we actually fighting? I loved so many of the subliminal messages in this story, the undercurrent of questions, the tragedy of it all, and it had such a good ending too. Like, I didn't know how it was going to end. I had no clue. This book has been out for, did it come out in 1999, I think? So it came out, what, 25 years ago now? And how I've managed to avoid this that entire length of time is beyond me. I genuinely have no idea why I didn't pick this up sooner. I mean, I love the Hunger Games so much, so you would think that I would naturally go to this one after that one, but I just didn't. I think the length of it is pretty intimidating because with a story like this, you would worry that it would just drag on and there wouldn't be like very much point after a while and it would just get pretty repetitive. And I feel like after reading this, all of those concerns were unfounded. They were unfounded. The length, I think, was perfect for the kind of story it was trying to tell. There wasn't really a great deal of repetition because of the variety of characters and the variety of scenes that you were given. And it was just a damn good time. It was such a good time reading this. Oh my god. Well, when are we doing this movie night with my patrons? When are we doing this movie night? We're doing Heather's on Sunday. Next week will be True Crime and White Night. The week after that, I think it'll be a Stephen King film. The week after that will be True Crime and White Night. And then maybe the week after that, so August 18th, maybe I might try and do a movie night for Battle Royale. But that's like a month away. It's like a month away. As you're trying to fit things in sometimes, it's just a nightmare. But it's definitely going to happen because I want more. I want more. I don't want this to end. I don't think there was ever a sequel written. But there was that manga that was written by the original author. So I want to check that out. I know it's just going to be the same story, like the exact same story, but in manga form. I still want to read it. I want to read it right now. But I can't because it's expensive. So I need them to reprint the manga ASAP so that I can read it. But I think, maybe it might be online to read. Maybe it's like, sometimes manga's on Kindle Unlimited. Maybe it's on Kindle Unlimited. There are other options. There are other options that I can take without having to spend a fortune. Even though I do prefer to read manga physically. Anyway, I just don't want to let it go. I don't want to put it down. Just great. Love the ending. 5 stars. Like, literally, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to tell you. I feel like maybe that was like the shortest I've talked about one of these books. But sometimes, when you just like love a book, you don't really have that much to say about it. Like, that's what I found. Whenever I do my best and worst books videos, I always have more to say about my worst books than I do my best books. It's weird. But that does mean I finished my entire TBR for the books that you think I will give 5 stars. And only one of you were correct. So I'm going to rank these from worst to best. So my least favourite of the video, and one that wasn't even really supposed to be counted towards this, is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I gave this one 2.5 stars. Definitely my least favourite of the bunch. And I think 5th for this video, The Book of the Most Precious Substance by Sarah Gran. I mean, a 3.5 is still good. There is like a huge gap between this one and The Familiar, I think, in terms of enjoyment. So I do think the 5 that I read, like specifically for this video, truly, they're actually been good picks. All of them got over a 3.5, so there is a 5 in a 3.5, I guess. And then in 4th, I would say The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, 3.5 again. And I'm definitely going to read the sequel. Sequel will definitely be acquired. In 3rd, Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, 4 stars. Pretty solid, pretty good. But I will always remember this book as being the book that I was reading while finding out that Shannon Doherty had died. The runner-up, the very, very close runner-up, and almost 5-star, is The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrun. So close. So close. And it definitely is one of my favourite romances of all time. It really is, because I don't often rate romances all that high. So this was still a win. This will most likely end up being my best books of the year. I can imagine. Probably, definitely, yes. Maybe. I think, yes. But in first place, you just heard me talk about this one. Battle Royale by Koushun Takami. 100% my favourite one of the week. One of my best books of the year so far. Glad I saved the best one for last. My next video might be a cataloguing my entire home library video, potentially. And my next vlog will most likely be my Stephen King vlog, where I'm going to be reading Rage, Carrie, Salem's Lot, and The Shining. So that's what you got to look forward to. I mean, there will be a lot more too, but I hope you stick around to see them. So thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave all your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of the vlog. Let me know if you read any of the books in this video. Let me know if you have any more recommendations that you think I'm going to give 5 stars, because who knows, maybe in the future I might go to these comments and pick some more books for a follow-up vlog like this. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel. If you'd like to join my Patreon, then the link is in the description box, and I do have my trip to my Norway adventure down in the description box too. But yeah, I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye.